Hi guys, I'm Shashank. Thank you for coming to our channel. Today's topic will be anchoring, or simply putting it as conditioning of mind. So starting from the last question where we left, the title, why we do the things we do. Why it happens that we keep on repeating that behavior, irrespective of telling us not to, irrespective of others telling us not to, but we still display that behavior. Just having an insight on it, that why it keeps on happening and what can be done for that. So let's say simple examples, we meet some stranger and instantly we don't like them. What has just gone wrong? You don't like them. You visit a new place, you don't get an easy feeling, and sometimes it feels scary. And now in future, if you see a place like that, if you meet a person like that, instantly you start hating them. In kids, exam fevers, they face exam fevers. People who are facing crowd, facing camera, facing public, they get fear, and repeatedly this behavior shows up. Every time the same incident happens, the same fear comes up and they get trapped into that thing. Certain examples more can be Monday blues. Going office on Monday, it gives you an anxiety. The moment you think about those files, those work, computers, you get that anxiety, already starts happening to you, and it is repeated every time. It is repeated. uh, Thinking about your boss for some can give you anger. The more you think, the more angry you become. One more example I'll take from sports. In sports, we have it's quite common that you get a fear from against a particular team. He's not able to perform well against a particular team or against a particular player or a bowler, although being a very good player and displaying a good art. So why this happens? Let's understand this process better. For most of people, there are single words or single gesture that can elicit very strong, both positive or negative responses, and these responses can be in form of memory, certain memory. It can be a behavior that they always display, or it can be some kind of feeling which will always come upon having this particular word or having this particular gesture. So why it happens? Let's consider one more example here. Okay guys, let me take you back to early 19th century, around 1905. There was a scientist, psychologist named Ian Pavlov. He did many experiments with dogs. One of them, which I am referring here, is about conditioning of mind, which in his language he called this triggering. In this particular experiment, what he did, on one side there was a dog, the other side there was a food, in between the two there was a barrier. Before slipping the food, he used to ring the bell, and by that dog becomes alert and he slips the food inside. Dog will very happily eat this food, and the saliva starts dripping, which he used to measure in small tubes. Now this keeps on repeating, but one day what he did, he just simply rang the bell. There was no food on the other side, but what he noticed, the amount of saliva from this particular dog was equal to the time when he was eating the food. Now this is a very good example of conditioning of mind. A saliva has everything to do with the food we eat, with that appetite, with that taste, and sound of a bell is separate. But this is how a particular condition of mind is associated with a particular sound. Now these sounds can be different, but they will always repeat that same behavior. And this particular thing he named as triggering or conditioning of mind. Now when we use the same behavior, the same methodology in NLP, we call it with the name of anchoring. Now anchoring is a very fantastic topic. So this brings us to the question, what is anchoring? Anchoring is a very important NLP tool which we use to generate and recall any condition, any desired condition at will. To understand this process better, let's have a focus here. Let's consider this is our state of mind. This is our state which is going up and it is reaching its peak here. This state can be both positive or negative. But as we are rising our state and we are trying to reach the peak of it, let's say if any event happens here, this event can be both internal and external. Primarily, if we see something, if we hear something, if we feel something, taste or smell anything at that particular time, just before reaching the peak of this state, our brain starts to look for the reasons. It starts for looking for the reasons as why this is happening. He starts looking for this evidence, or what we call it as a reference point. And while finding this evidence, it's associate the peak of this state with this event. So in future, this event becomes a trigger to recall this state. So anytime in future you trigger this event, the same feeling will be recalled. For example, just think about internally sound of a church bell and try to associate with feeling. And now think about the bell, school bell, off, you're off, or the school bell, and try to get a feeling. So you will notice within yourself that every sound has been stored with a meaning. Now, if this is done in an uncontrolled way, it can be a curse. But if we use it in a controlled way, it can be a very effective tool. It can be a very effective tool to store and recall any state, state of being confident, state of being happy, state of being motivated, and the same can be utilized in the present situation where we desire these situations to be with us. One more example coming from a shipping background, I have to give this one, is from the movie Life of a Pi, where this boy gets struck with a tiger in a lifeboat, open lifeboat, and the survivor manual says this animal will feel seasickness out at the open sea, and due to this seasickness he'll vomit at some time. But you have to be very careful. The moment he vomits, you have to blow the whistle, and this kid does the same. The tiger keeps on vomiting and this kid keeps on blowing this whistle. Now this is an excellent example of anchoring. The vomiting is the peak condition of seasickness, which is now getting associated with the bell. Now moment the sea is calm and he'll come back to his original state, he'll feel hungry and he'll possibly try to eat this boy. But at this very moment, if he'll blow this whistle, the past condition of vomiting will recall and he will not feel like eating that boy ever again. Our phobias can be our most powerful anchors, which in our workshops will tell you how to collapse them and reassociate with a more powerful one. Last example, just to associate with the day-to-day habits. Consider a student, university going student, possibly in a hostel, studying very hard for his exams throughout the day, exhausted physically, mentally, both. Now at this time, he just tries to withdraw from that room, get out of that room, keep his books away, and goes to a toilet to attend the call of nature. What will happen? Once he is there, he'll automatically, out of that pressure, out of the stress, he'll start feeling relaxed. He starts reaching to the peak of relax. And definitely, if he is attending to that call, he'll physically also feel lighter. Mentally, he's away from that stress, from that book, he'll feel lighter. And sooner or later, he'll reach to the peak of relaxation. But what if just before this peak of relaxation, he takes out a cigarette and starts smoking in the toilet? Yes, you are correct. The brain will look for the closest reference point, that why this relaxation is happening, and he'll associate that relaxation with the event of smoking. And now in future, whenever this boy wants to recall this situation, this condition of being relaxed, he will look for that event only. And that is how we pick up habits. we pick up certain habits because of this. We are never ever looking for events, we are always looking for that state. But yes, that state is stored as an event, and that is why we always go for that event, and these things keep on repeating within our life. Now, how to come out of them, what can be done about them, can be physically shown to you, and possibly you can benefit from all these. This is where I am ending this video with a very positive note that yes, these things can be changed like this. We have those things to be dealt with. Keep on watching this video, and yes, take action, be there in our workshops, can be easily understood, and it can be a fun and amazing learning. Thank you guys, all the best. Keep watching, like and subscribe as you wish. All the best. Have a good life. Thank you.